When we look at that number for the UK government plans to invest, it's both investment and bilateral trade. And certainly the amount of outflow from the UK is feasible, and there are plenty of projects, we believe, that are available in Malaysia. The pace of that deployment, though, obviously depends on how well approvals are granted and the attractiveness of individual projects. But overall, the scope seems reasonable. The time taken to get that money deployed might take a little bit longer than is anticipated, but it seems to be in the right ballpark. Well, certainly with Malaysia, historically, it's been some of the issues have been and potential bottlenecks have revolved around the bureaucracy required to be fulfilled in order to put money to work. Beyond that, we've got a fairly tight labour market, as we know, in Malaysia, which can make it difficult to hire the right people in the right positions, and certainly many companies have made that comment and provided that feedback in the past. And in addition, you have some labour laws, regulations governing the labour market, which sometimes make it difficult, particularly when you get to the top end of the skill set. In order to get the right people in the right position, there are some natural biases within the system there that can make it a little bit more cumbersome for companies to recruit locally. I think overall there's a perception that ASEAN economies as a whole are positioned to do a little bit better. They've got a demographic profile which suggests that there's a period of outperformance forthcoming. They're well endowed in terms of natural resources, and then in Malaysia in particular, the rule of law, good infrastructure. A lot of money has been spent on building out the infrastructure in Malaysia, and of course, particularly for in the case of Britain, a common law, British law basis, which makes companies feel relatively more comfortable when thinking about expanding into the region. And so it's serving as a good base, a low-cost base relative to other countries in terms of expanding out into ASEAN economies. Well, we've already seen that to some extent. We've seen the big property deal in Battersea, which suggests that there's willingness on the part of some of these big institutions to put money to work in the UK. And I think there's an element of a quid pro quo. If Malaysia and Malaysian institutions, the government, shows willingness to invest in the UK, then you'll start to see flows back the other way, some bilateral movement where the UK and UK private sector takes more interest in building up positions with Malaysian investment. So I think we can do, yes.